I'm Bob Hallmark in studio today. Broadband, it's what everybody talks about here lately, even those that live in rural areas, particularly those that live in rural areas. When you think about broadband, you think about how much business, commerce, even networking goes on through the internet, and it is important really all across the country. Now, infrastructure is part of that, and that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today, about how broadband is fitting in with infrastructure, and particularly those who may one day be laying the fibers. And that's why we're joined right now by Wes Robinson from Eastex Telephone Cooperative out of Rusk County. Wes, I guess, first of all, I'm guessing it has really changed the way telephone cooperatives do business, is because now this is such a big part of business. Tell me a little bit about broadband and how you fit into it.
Well, you're absolutely right, Bob. One of the things that we learned coming out of the epidemic was the importance of broadband, and people were using that to teach their kids and to go to the doctor's office and just all sorts of things. And so, we had a new attention focused on broadband. And so we've seen a lot of funding opportunities come out of the federal government, but we have been at Eastex have been trying to do broadband, since broadband existed. So we've been in the internet business since the internet was around. And we've just continued to try to provide better and better broadband service to our membership base.
How does that, what kind of a challenge does that present? Now, I know that there is some funding around the corner here somewhere where that is going to be made possible. But how does that work exactly? Obviously, it seems to be self-perpetuating. It's almost a never-ending cycle that somewhere at some spot you've got to provide broadband internet.
Well, you're absolutely right. And the definition of broadband and the needs of customers changes. Every year, we need faster and faster broadband service to do the things that we're trying to do over the internet. And so we're constantly investing in our network to provide faster and faster broadband speeds to end users. Lately, that has been a lot of fiber investment. So we have gone in heavy with fiber investment. About half of our co-op members are now currently able to get fiber to their house. So we're continuing to push the effort in the envelope. We want to see 100% fiber to the home, and that's our goal. I don't know how long it's going to take us to get there, but we are doing everything we can to get there.
Now, particularly one of the factors, I guess, that was not thought about early on was rural communities, because we always think of the major metropolises as having the service, but the focus now, particularly with this current administration, is to create investment now into broadband that will take it to the further reaches of everybody's county, and some of that's going to be coming to Texas as well.
That's absolutely right. We've learned through the coronavirus that everybody needs broadband. It's not just an urban issue. Rural customers need that as well. They use that for all sorts of activities. We could even talk about farming activities. We're going to see activities with smart farming techniques. It allows customers to live in rural areas and not have to live in an urban area and work from home in a rural environment that they enjoy.
Now, I'm going to use a word here that most people probably are familiar with it, but probably don't know what it is: infrastructure. It's become another buzzword. Yet I'd be willing to bet that there's probably a lot of people out there that couldn't tell you what that means. But infrastructure is the ability to put all of this into a workable plan that a schematic, so to speak, of what you want this to look like. Can you kind of put that into layman's terms for people?
Yeah, absolutely, Bob. I think infrastructure, I think of fiber in the ground, I think of routers, I think of all these different electronic components that make up the internet and allow people to do the things that they want to do on the internet, like stay connected with their friends and family, or visit their doctor, or attend online classes. There's infrastructure that is fairly expensive to put in the ground, but that is important to allow people to do the things they want to do on the internet.
Gotcha. Okay, well, that should make it clear for anybody who doesn't understand what that means. Now we come to the interesting part. There are any number of ways that this can be funded. The current administration has dedicated about $2.7 billion to invest in infrastructure in this country. I understand a large percentage of that is coming to Texas, but there are other sources to draw from as well. Now, you say that there's any number of ways that you can actually get funding for this.
You're right, Bob. There are multiple sources of federal funding right now. They're all kind of working their way through the system to set up a process so that we don't waste that funding. And it's coming through the national NTIA, coming through the FCC, coming through the Texas Broadband Office. There's also USDA has got a program called Reconnect that we're trying to take advantage of right now in Cherokee County. There's all these different funding programs out there that are administered by different agencies, and they're all got to work together so that we're not spending money two agencies spending money in the same area to provide broadband service to the same customers. We want to make sure everybody gets broadband. So the BEAD program was a $42 billion program that the that the NTIA is administering. I've seen projections just come out this week that Texas is set to get around $3.5 billion of that $42 billion program. So Texas looks like they're going to be the largest recipient of those grant funds.
Wes Robinson, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, and we'll have much more on this story tonight on KLTV 7 News for KLTV WebXtra. I'm Bob Hallmark.